All right. We are going to do the linear equation word problems. I'm going to split this up into two videos. We're going to do two types for each video. So the first type of word problems we're looking for is slope-intercept. So remember our terminology here. We're looking for a slope, a steady rate of change, or just rate of change. Steady is kind of redundant. And then a beginning point. Where do we start? So on my notes here, when it's in slope-intercept form, what I want you to think is we are going to use this form, use when given a starting point, which is my beginning point, and a rate of change. So that's what we are going to identify. And let's see if we can do that. So number one, it says, and remember, my rate of change is always m, because slope is a rate, it's a ratio, it compares two things, so that's why rate of change is m. So let's look at number one. Evan is going to the county fair this weekend. The admission to the fair is $5 and the cost per ride is 50 cents. If his parents gave him $20, write and solve a linear equation to find how many rides he can go on. So I'm going to ignore this second sentence, and I'm going to focus on what is going on. Well, Evan's going to the county fair this weekend. The admission is $5. So before I even enter the fair, how much money do I know I'm going to be spending? $5. Because the cost to get in, my beginning point is $5. So my beginning point is $5 because that's how much they're charging me to get in. Plus, and means plus, the cost per ride is 50 cents. Here is a big hint for you. Here is how I know it's a rate of change. Per is my rate. So it's saying the cost per ride. Cost per ride. That's slope. It compares cost to ride. Cost to ride. So anytime you see the word per, I want you a light bulb to go off in your head thinking rate. That's a rate. That's a rate. That's a ratio. And what is it comparing? It's comparing cost versus ride. So there is a lot of information right here in cost per ride because slope is change in y over change in x, right? So if it's comparing cost per ride, we've already identified my x and y axis. So the slope I want you to see is 0.5 cost per ride. Now, I'm going to come back to this, so write this down somewhere. Remember, I said that slope is always in fraction form unless you're given a word problem. It wouldn't make sense, so we can just use 0.5. So now, how do I make an equation? My equation is y equals mx plus b, 0.5x plus 5, and that's my equation. Remember, it's a word problem, so I still want my three parts. So, let's look at what x and y are going to stand for. If I were to graph this, here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis. My x stands right here. This is 50 cents per ride. X stands for ride. 50 cents per ride. So whatever per is followed by 50 cents per ride, that means x is my ride. So x is number of rides, and my y value then is cost. The cost, it's comparing cost per ride. So y is my total cost. So that's how I'm setting up my equation. Now, it says his parents gave him $20. So find out how many rides he can go on. Well, if his parents gave him $20, that's the total amount that he got was $20. And we're solving for, we need to find out how many rides, so we need to find x. So now I plug in 20 because that's the total amount of money my parents gave me. So I subtract 5 from both sides. I get 15 equals 0.5x. Divide both. If this is 1/2, you can multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2, or divide by 0.5. And x equals 30. So Evan can ride 30 rides. And I want these in full sentences. Okay, full sentences. All right. So that's number one. Let's look at number two when we piece it together. While visiting Crimson Lake, Sally decides to go kayaking. The rangers charge $8.50 per hour. There's my light bulb already I have identified my slope because it's $8.50 per hour. So what does X stand for? X stands for the number of hours already, just because of that one word. All right, in addition to a $25 deposit to rent the kayak. So it's going to cost $25 to rent the kayak. That's my beginning point. My beginning point is $25. I can't change. If I stay on the water 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 12 hours, it's still going to cost me $25. And then my slope is $8.50. Notice these are just numbers. I've got no vocabulary in here. There's no variables identifying. I'm just identifying slope and identifying beginning point. Now I can write my equation. Y equals 8.5x plus 25. So that's my equation. I have to have that. Now, the second sentence is where I'm going to do some solving here. It says, if she rented the kayak from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., write and solve a linear equation to find the total cost to rent the kayak. So here's my equation, but I need to do something. She rented the kayak for how long? We already know X stands for hours and Y stands for total cost, right? Because of this per hour. So how many hours did she rent it? I need to know that information. She rented it from 11:30 to 12 to 2:30. So 11:30 to 12:30 to 1:30 to 2:30. She rented that for 3 hours. So Sally is going to pay $8.50 times 3 plus her $25 deposit. So $8.50 times 3 is, when I add all this together, my total cost is going to be $50.50. So Sally spent $50.50 to rent kayak, okay, and finish it in full sentence. All right. Number 4. Let's take a look at number 4. If you buy a car wash at the gas station for $6, the cost per gallon is $2.35. Ding, 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 ding. There's my slope. My beginning point, a car wash is $6. That's what it is. So my beginning point is $6, and my slope is $2.35. Now I can make my equation. Y equals 2.35x plus 6. And it says $6 for a car wash, $2.35 per gallon. So if I have $40, I want to know going into the gas station, I know I want a car wash, so if I have $40, how many gallons of gas can I spend? I'm looking for X. My total cost is $40. I only have $40. So I'm going to plug in 40 for Y, and now I'm going to solve for X. So subtract 6 on both sides, 34 equals 235x, and divide both sides by 235. You can use a calculator on this, and I'm going to get that X is going to be 14.47 gallons. So over here, I would say I can buy 14.47 gallons of gas. So I can buy that many gallons of gas, and I still get my $6 car wash, all for $40. Not a bad deal. All right, that's type 1. So that's the easy one. That's when you can identify your slope, identify your beginning point, and go on. Standard form is if we are going to use standard form when the problem relates to 2 different objects. So 2 completely different objects. So let's look at number 5. Sam ordered 2 hamburgers and 3 hot dogs from the concession stand at the baseball game. His bill came to $19.05. If the hamburgers cost $5.25 each, write and solve a linear equation to find the cost of each hot dog. So what is he buying? He's buying hamburgers and hot dogs. So I can say X is hamburgers, Y is hot dogs. Well, let's remember what standard form is. It's AX plus BY equals C, right? Okay. So now, here's what I'm going to do. These are simple. 2 hamburgers. So watch this. This is a literal translation. That's why I like these. These are kind of my favorites because it's a literal translation. 2 hamburgers, 2X and means addition. 3 hot dogs, 3y. His bill came to a total of all of this together, 2 hamburgers and 3 hot dogs, is $19.05. And voila, there's my linear equation. So remember, all linear equations, you've got to have an x and y in there, right? So that's my linear equation. I've identified my variables over here. And so now it's asking if hamburgers cost $5.25 each. So hamburgers at $5.25. It's asking me to find the cost of a hot dog. So now I'm just going to do 2 times $5.25, which is $10.50, plus 3y equals $19.05. And I'm solving for y. That's all I'm doing. So I subtract $10.50 on both sides. And I get 3y equals $8.55. And then divide both sides by 3. And I get y equals $2.85. So over here is when I write my answer. Cost of hot dog is $2.85. Bam. All right, let's do another example together. This video is running a little long, sorry. It's not helping that these aren't answering. All right, so tickets at a school play cost $4 in advance or $5 at the door. So what are we comparing here? The cost of tickets. So tickets in advance and at the door. So I'm going to say X is tickets in advance. Tickets in advance. Y is going to be tickets at the door. So now $4 for X plus $5 at the door is a total of $440. So bam, there's my equation. Now my question's saying no tickets were sold in advance. So 0 tickets were sold in advance. How many were sold at the door? So now I'm just going to solve for Y. Well, that's 0. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and Y equals 8, carry the 4, 88. So 88 tickets sold at the door. I know that went by pretty fast, but what I want you to really pick out of this is that you're buying tickets. I want you to notice there's 2 different types of tickets. Some are in advance, some are at the door, and then it's a literal translation. $4 in advance and $5 at the door for a total of $440. So this, the most important piece, is me pulling out my standard form of the equation. That's my most important piece. Then I take the information that's given and I can solve given one variable. All right, let's look at number 7. All right, Karen's piggy bank has all dimes and quarters. So what are we comparing? What are the 2 variables? Dimes and quarters. So X I'm going to stand for dimes, and Y I'm going to stand for quarters. And a lot of people ask, what if I identify X as quarters and Y as dimes? That's fine. It's not going to change your answer. That's why that vocabulary is so important, because when you plug back in those numbers, you got to know what you're solving for. And if you plug them in differently, you're going to know, because that's why we go back in that third one and piece back that vocabulary together. Okay, so this is not tricky, but I want you to notice something here. It says the total value of the money in her jar, so dimes and quarters, is $11.40. But I can't just put X plus Y equals $11.40 because I need to identify. Notice up here, it said the cost of advance was 4 and tickets at the door were 5. So it talked about how much per ticket, right? So how much per X, how much per Y, and then it gave me the constant term. I still need to do that. What is the cost of X? Well, a dime is how much money? 10 cents. So watch what I'm going to do. 0.1 X stands for 10 cents, plus the cost of Y, which is 25 cents for a quarter, and now it gives me a total of $11.40. So here, I had to do some thinking. The cost of X plus the cost of Y equals the total cost. 10 cents and 25 cents. What are you doing, Miss Hartman? 25 cents Y equals $11.40. Now that's my equation. And when it says Karen has 36 quarters, find out the number of dimes. So now that I have my equation, Karen has 36 quarters. So I plug in, because y is quarters, I plug in 36 for y. So 0.1x plus, well, 36 quarters at 25 cents was 9 equals $11.40. Subtract 9 on both sides. Go down here, 0.1x equals $2.40. And then I divide both sides by 0.1, so x equals 24. So there are going to be 24 dimes. 24 dimes in piggy bank. Full sentences over here. Okay. Now, for the sake of time, I'm just going to set up your equation for number 8. I'm going to set it up. So the Oakville High School Marching Band sold gift wrap to earn money for a band trip. Solid gift wrap and printed gift wrap. So X, I'm going to put solid gift wrap, and Y is going to be printed gift wrap. Okay? Now it says solid sells for $3.50. So $3.50 for solid and $5 for printed, and that gives me a total of $2,500. So that's the equation that I'm looking for. Now, to finish it out, if the band sells 325 rolls of printed paper, remember printed is Y, so I would plug in 350, 325 for printed, and then solve for X. And I know you know how to do that, so with the magic of television, I'm just going to tell you your answer, and your answer is 250 rolls of solid they must sell. Okay, so that's video 1 for this type of word problems. If you're still struggling, come and see me. Good luck.